Good morning, it is 5 Live. Insurers have been told to get their house in order and end practices which encourage fraud and exaggeration when it comes to whiplash claims. The Transport Select Committee says such claims shouldn't be paid without supporting medical evidence and that the time limit to make such claims should be shortened. The Association of British Insurers says there are just under 500,000 whiplash claims every year, and that costs UK motorists £2 billion annually, adding £90 to the average premium. Around 80% of low-value motor personal injury claims were for whiplash in Britain last year, and that's compares with around 50% for the rest of Europe. The association says that current medical reports are often not worth the paper they're written on. Here's Louise Almond, Labour Chair of the Transport Select Committee.
It's impossible to be certain about the scale, and estimates that we heard range from saying that fabricated claims were from about 1% of claims to about 60% of whiplash claims. But there certainly is a problem, and there are some cases where some claims have been made and indeed have been met without any medical evidence at all. And under current rules, it's possible to make a claim 3 years after an accident has happened without having reported that accident, and those are the things that need to be tightened up.
Well, let's talk to Mark in Doncaster. He contacted us. And Mark, you reckon you've exaggerated 2 whiplash claims, do you?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
What did you do?
Well, I had 2 crashes, one in 2005, genuine crashes, and one in 2008. My first one in 2005 was outside a football match at Coventry City, so I had 30,000 witnesses. But we had to get a car towed home and all that kind of stuff.
Were you injured?
Not really, no, just shook up because it just came out of the blue. It just basically somebody just came on the wrong side of the road and head on smash while I was just stood there waiting to turn right.
But you went to the insurance company and said you had whiplash injuries, did you? Yeah.
I went to where my friend, the comedian who was in the car, says he's had one before, so he says he's funny. So I thought, well, no offence, I know everybody's going to be able to upset, because, I thought, well, if it's good for one, it's good for me. So we went to see a solicitor, and he says, yeah, I'll get you £2,000 easy. So the guy's in touch with a doctor. It's supposed to be impartial, apparently, but obviously not. He says, yeah, you've got whiplash. And I thought, well, you can't really tell. I've been told you can't tell if you've got whiplash. It's not possible. So he said we got it. So 6 months later, £2,000.
And the same thing happened 3 years later, amazingly.
Yeah. I got rear-ended by a guy. I was on a phone at the time. He tried to say he basically knew a guy who was driving the car I was in. Said, I'll pay to have the car fixed. And I thought, well, no thanks. I says, he's on his phone anyway. I said, I can contact him if he wants. And he said, oh, no. I said, well, I'm reporting the accident, and then I'm going to put a claim in. So I did, and I ended up with £2,300 on the second one.
Right, well, do you fancy sharing that £4,500 between everybody who's listening right now? Because you've added to our car insurance premiums?
I'm obviously not alone in it. There's probably thousands of people out there who have done it. Thousands of people will still be doing it, and if they don't, half of it, to be honest with you, 90% of it is down to the solicitors for telling me I can get a claim in, when realistically they should turn around to me and say, sorry mate, you can't prove you got whiplash, you're not getting any. But, they're going to make their cut, so they're going to say, yeah, you've got it.
Well, you know what's right and what's wrong. You know what's a lie and what's truthful. You don't need a solicitor to tell you that.
Yeah, but you don't know, but solicitors tell you anything you want. They make their money, obviously. But if somebody came to you and said, I can get you £10,000, would you realistically turn it down? You're not going to say yeah on air or no on air, but would you realistically turn it down? I don't think so.
If it was lying, yeah. Of course I would.
Well, I was in an accident. It's not like I wasn't in an accident.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't dispute that. But you weren't injured. You've already told us that.
No. But, I'm not, like I say, I've got no problem with telling you about it. Otherwise, I want to run up.
Yeah.
I know, like you say, everybody's insurance goes from over here. Yeah. But how many fraudulent claims do you get on house insurance and any insurance? It happens every day. But if somebody tells you you've got it, or tells you to claim it, most people claim it. If he said to me, like, oh, you get £5,000, do you want it? Oh, no, I don't want it. Okay. But you're not going to do that? You're going to say yeah?
You're not worried about being pursued now by the insurance company for fraud?
Well, they don't know who I am, do they?
I don't know.
Well,
do they?
Are you going to pass my name on? My name's Mark. I'm from Doncaster. There's quite a few Marks in Doncaster. So if he can catch me, if he can find me, yeah, no problem, Mark. But well, I have all too.
Do you want, Mark? Let me bring in Rob Cummings. He's the motor policy advisor at the Association of British Insurers. Mr. Cummings, hello.
Good morning.
What are the penalties for lying about claims like this?
Well, I mean, the penalties obviously are very severe.
What are they?
Well, if insurers can prove in the court of law that someone is lying, then there can be both financial penalties, but also kind of criminal sanctions in terms of both financial penalties and going to prison.
Dr. Faye Wilson is with us too, a GP in Birmingham, who's dealt with many patients who either believe they have had whiplash or say they have, at least anyway. Dr. Wilson, hello.
Hi there.
And Robin Patey is a senior partner at Express Solicitors in Manchester, a personal injury specialist in charge of road traffic accidents. Robin, do you have that kind of conversation with people who've been in car accidents? Look, you may as well put in a claim for whiplash.
Absolutely not. I don't think any reasonable person could condone what your caller Mark has just elucidated there. I mean,
but loads of people do it. That is a fact.
Well, I don't know whether loads of people do it. As solicitors, we can only act on what a client tells us. As Mark has said, that has to be independently verified, that claim, by a medical expert, by a doctor, a highly qualified doctor, not just the man on the street who writes a one-page report. There are very strict rules governing the reports which are provided to the courts. Reports have to be provided. It's a misnomer to say that people just put in claims and then get them paid out. Some insurance companies, as referred to in the Select Committee report, pay claims without a medical report. Well, that's not a practice that we condone. We advise our clients never to accept an offer without a medical report being provided to the insurance company. But some insurance companies decide that they want to make early offers to settle, and that's a practice which has been frowned upon quite severely in the latest Select Committee report.
Dr. Wilson, have you sometimes written a medical note for somebody who actually you think is trying to pull the wool over your eyes about the kind of injuries they may have sustained in a car accident?
I think GPs are in a difficult position because it is a relationship of trust, and for a lot of things you rely on the patient who says, this is what's happened to me, and you can get them to describe the accident. And if someone tells their doctor that they've got pain, the doctor's not in a position to prove that they're wrong. And there aren't any special tests for this. There are there are some very serious symptoms of serious injury, which you could look for, but the vast majority of people, it's more or less a muscle strain or a bit of a muscle tear or a ligament. And if the patient asserts, it's like a patient who asserts they have got back pain or they've got pain in their leg. It's just that we know that there is a sort of culture. And your first caller, the interesting thing I thought about him wasn't that he told this set of lies, but that he
still
didn't
there.
think
You can
he
talk
didn't
to
think
him.
there was anything wrong with it. He felt it was just like that money didn't belong to somebody, and so he might as well have it. And he said that somebody had encouraged him to make the claim and had more or less offered him the money. And I think this isn't a victimless fraud. It's not just the people who are paying the higher insurance premiums, which you alluded to, but there are some people who have genuine and ongoing serious problems. And I think there's a general scepticism amongst doctors. So those people will come in with their serious ongoing problems, and particularly it's older people and particularly women who have more of these problems, and their doctors really say, oh yeah, here's another one. And I think that's a real shame, because those people are victims of this, this culture.
Rob Cummings, you're from the Association of British Insurers. Are you going to shorten the time limit? It's 3 years at the moment to make a claim, which seems extraordinary. And are you going to make sure insurance firms don't pay out unless some medical evidence is part of the claim?
Well, I think on the medical evidence, we strongly support the committee's findings that,
Of course you do, but what are you going to say to your members? Are you going to make sure they do that?
Well, that's why we're working currently with government to ensure that the current system can be reformed, to ensure that medical evidence
So you need legislation, do you, rather than just sending out guidance to all your members?
Absolutely. Well, it's not. What we need is government to reform the current system. So it's not up to insurers about how medical evidence is produced and what kind of format it comes in. That's very much dictated by government.
Are you sure? An insurance company surely sets its own policy, and it will have it will either say you need medical evidence for a whiplash claim or not. How is that to do with Parliament?
So some insurers may pay out claims at times without medical reports, and as you said, I think you said earlier on in the programme, that's because essentially medical reports aren't worth the paper they're written on, because they come back every single time with a diagnosis of whiplash. So we're working with government to ensure that the medical evidence can be more robust and the requirements are tightened up.
Right. And the time limit, 3 years?
Well, again, I think an industry would be happy if government were to shorten the limit. But
you're the associate. Sorry, I may be being incredibly stupid here, and I probably am because it's happened before a number of times. Why is that a government issue? You're the Association of British Insurers. You can shorten the time limit, surely.
No, we can't. That's primary legislation, unfortunately, which is set by Parliament. So if somebody wants to bring forward a claim...
So why are MPs telling insurers to shorten the time limit when they presumably know it's Parliament's job?
No, so the report is called on government to review the time limit, not the industry. The industry would happily shorten the time limit.
The Transport Select Committee are telling insurers to get their house in order.
So yeah, that's in relation to ensuring that more and better quality of medical evidence is used for whiplash claims. That's why we're working with the Ministry of Justice at the moment to ensure that reforms are brought forward. Right. But in terms of the time limit, that's very much to do with government and primary legislation, which insurers have no control over, unfortunately.
What
would you say to Mark in Doncaster? He's still there. Hi, Mark.
I'm still here,
Yeah. Rob, what would you say to him?
I think Mark needs to understand that these fraudulent claims are increasing the cost of motor insurance for all drivers. And you said there in the programme, it's adding £90 to the average premium. So this is very much not a victimless crime, no matter what Mark might think. This is impacts on motorists across the UK.
Yeah, can I come back in?
Of course you can, Mark, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I've obviously made out to be the bad guy, which is fair enough, right? I'm making a fraudulent claim. But the solicitor who was in earlier is trying to suggest that no solicitor would tell me to make a claim. Well, I'm sorry, but he's obviously wrong, as you know he is, because he's filed fraudulent claims out there. And they put me onto the doctor, who's supposedly an independent doctor who is not independent, obviously, because he's a doctor they always use. So you're telling me, I'm charged now that you have dodgy solicitors there and dodgy doctors who are giving us this information and telling me basically to put a claim in. So, if I'm not like whiplash, why are they telling me to put a claim in? Why have I got the money?
What did you...
They put it to me to do that, so it's down to them at the end of the day.
You don't take responsibility for what you did?
Well, yeah, I know what you're saying, and yeah, fair enough. But unless solicitors change their ways and doctors change their ways and don't lie as well, because they're part of the lie as well, obviously, or are they not?
What did you spend the £5,000 on, Mark?
I went to Spain on one, and I went to Portugal on the other one.
Okay. Thank you for talking to us, Mark in Doncaster.
I'll keep listening, even though you give me some grief.
Thank you.
Okay,
Rob Cohen's, thank you, from the Association of British Insurers. Dr. Faye Wilson, GP in Birmingham, and Robin Patey from Express Solicitors in Manchester. 0500 909 693 if you want to contact us about